Hello everyone, I'm the Whiskey Enthusiast. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another head-to-head, an old versus new. Did we do an old versus new? I don't know, we've done head-to-heads before, but this might be the first old versus new. I have the Benromach. I know Benromach has a cult following. There are a lot of people who really love Benromach. They call it the Springbank of Speyside, or has that kind of a Campbelltown feel that Campbelltown whiskies have, but in Speyside. And I have the old Cask Strength Batch 1 and the new Cask Strength Batch 1. Now, Benromach changed its labels in 2020, changed it from this. I'll show you this one. Yeah, has that little bit of a handwritten thing, and I don't know, there are a lot of fans of this one. I particularly was not. It just felt a bit weird and childish, kind of. And then it changed its labels in 2020 to this one, which is also not fantastic. I think we shouldn't judge Benromach by their labels. I don't think they're great ones. But I don't know, which one do you prefer the most between this one? I know a lot of people hated the new design. Now they're coming along with it, but let me know. This is the video. Cheers. No, just let me know in the comments though, which one would you prefer label wise. At the end of the video I'm going to ask if you have tried any of those and if you would prefer one to the other. Now the old one, I'll just give you the specs, because Benromach normally does 43% ABV. So apart from some of their Caragolds or organics and their more cask plays or something, but this one is the cask strength one. It's Cask Strength 1, Batch 1, distilled in 2008, bottled in 2019. So that would give us a 11 years of age. Intense, richly complex with sherry kick, stewed fruits, beeswax polish, vanilla pods, and delicate smoke. Now, one thing you need to know about Benromach is they only use first fill casks, and they use them really well. And both of these are a combination of first fill bourbon and first fill sherry cask. Sherry cask, we don't know which one's, probably Oloroso, but we'll see. And 57.9% ABV. This one, the vintage 2012, and it's also cask strength, also batch 1. It's bottled at 60.2% ABV. They're both non-chill filtered and natural color, and this one was bottled in 2022. So this is 10 years of age, that's 11 years of age, or if we're counting months, this is 9, that's 10, but there's a 1 year difference basically. At our family owned distillery, you have much more information on the new ones than you did on the old ones. At our family owned distillery, we handcraft our whiskey in traditional way using the senses of our experienced distiller. Our cask strength single malt whiskey, okay. So there you go, this is 60.2. So let's dive in without water, and then I'm going to add some water, play around with it, and I'm going to edit that because I don't want you to just sit there and for 5 minutes for me to drop. So we're going to start with the old one. Okay, right one's the old one, left one's is the new one. Let's go. Okay. Very nice. A little bit of smoke. A little bit of a ashy nose. Nothing like Ardbeg, but there's that. Very sweet as well. Big dark sweetness though. Molasses-like, almost PX-like. A little bit sour. This has a lot of watermarks, this Glencairn, for some reason. Yeah. A little bit sour. A little bit smoky, ashy. I do get that funky note you get in Campbelltown whiskies. That workshop top, oily, bit of a metal polish. Also in a weird way wood shop as well, because it does feel woody. Again, 11 years of age, so not that old. This is to reset the nose receptors. And these are high in ABV, so you don't want to burn your nose, because after that it just gets a bit, it takes a long time for it to come back. Now the new one, without water. Okay. The sweetness is much more apparent on this one. That smoke, that ashy note is compared to the old one, nearly gone. And the sweetness on this one is more vanilla, custard, honey, kind of bourbon sweetness rather than that heavy molasses and jammy PX sweetness. So there's an apparent difference. This is much more funky. The old one is much more funky than the new one. The new one, on the nose, actually smells like a nice sherried Highlander Space Cider with a hint of smoke and touch of peat. Whereas this one, you smell it and you're like, okay, this is gonna take me to a ride. Take me for a ride. And to a ride as well, I don't know. Right, let's dive into the palate, shall we? Without water, then we can try. Oh, okay. Right. The ABV is there, but I've had much more mouth-burning, spicier whiskeys at much lower ABVs. It's not unmanageable. The palate is metallic, sour, with undertones of sweetness, ashy, like licking a recently burnt metal. But there's also that metallic sweetnesses in there as well. And the sourness made its way into a wet cardboard note. Woodiness is there on the back palate, and then the finish. It's a little bit of spice, a little bit of honey, and kind of like rusty metal, oily metal kind of note. I'm gonna cleanse my palate with the water I was gonna use for. Okay, let's try the new one then. Slange. Okay, wow. Much more spicier than the previous one. And much more honeyed, nutty, more floral, more herbal, much less funky compared to the compared to the previous one. This is 60.2 and younger, but actually it drinks quite nicely. It's sweeter, it's fresher, it's more herbal. That machine shop oily metallic notes are not there. The woodiness is not there. The smoke, if there is any, is very hidden in the background. This one's much more funky. The old one's much more funky than the new one. And the new one, I feel more Oloroso on the new one. A bit more dry and nutty sweetness on the new one. And I think on the old one, batch one again, batches are important to these things. I think there was maybe there was a bit more PX influence on the old one rather than the new one. So I'm gonna play around with water now, and I will edit this for you. All right, give me a sec. All right, we're back, guys. I put the same amount of water into both of them. Again, as Ralphie says, just give it a swirl. Do not agitate it too much. You don't need to shake it that much. So I just give it a little whirl, swirl, and then... Right. Water really opened up that funky note. Also the PX note. I'm going to say PX from now on because I do feel it's quite strong. And opened up that metallic, funky, sour, but that, you know, Campbelltown funk kind of way. With the sweetness. The ashiness went into the background, but it's still there. There's a hint of smoke. It's almost like you went into a machine shop there. Someone burned a little bit of wood in the corner, or they're doing some, what do you call it? You know, connect two metals with the metallic thing. So there's a little bit of a burnt note around, but it's mostly oily and metallic with a weird sweetness hanging in the background. Okay. Let's go on to the first one. Again, just swirl. Right, the water on this one, the first, the newer batch, kind of killed it. I preferred it before. There was the sweetness, the fresh sweetness is there, but it opened up a weird bitterness. But the honey notes and the honeys and the nuts really jumped up on that one. So not killed it, but I don't know, changed it. Changed it not in a way that I like. But the honey nut notes really increased on the newer one after water. So let's dive into the palate. Wow. Whew. This just turned into a spice monster. With a little bit of water, it explodes. All around, I feel spice, but that molasses notes are really overpowering now. The funky sour note turned itself into a bit of a spicy woody note. It really well integrated. I kind of preferred it without water because it was just felt a bit all over the place, but in a good way. You know, it's these kinds of whiskeys. I'm not gonna go and say, "Oh, it's really well made," and it's no. I want it to be funky. I want it to be weird. With water, it kind of rounded off, which is what you might prefer, and which is why people add water. They kind of want their whiskeys to calm down a bit, get rounded. It did. It's a really nice whiskey. I really enjoy it, but I think I preferred it without water because that funkiness was more apparent. Now, the molasses sweetness with the bourbon shining through as well. The ashen is just nearly completely disappeared, made its way into a massive spice, and yeah, it turned into a different whiskey. Let's try the 2022 batch, vintage. No, 2012 vintage, but yeah. Okay, now, this one, the palate actually benefited from water because the mouthfeel increased, the honey notes increased, there's now cinnamon, nutmeg, the spiciness is completely different. This is actually a lot of mouth burning, actually having like full chili pepper powder in my mouth or massive cinnamon in my mouth, this old one. Whereas this one, there is spiciness, but it's just complementing, a little bit of a nutmeg, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of ginger. This became really overpowering with water. It really popped those spice notes. Whereas the new one actually turned into a very well-rounded, nicely honeyed, spicy, like a little bit of a ginger honey, thyme honey on buttery bread with some walnuts sprinkled around. It turned into be really nice. So I would prefer the old one without water and the new one with water. But yeah, it's one of those rare times where I find water really reacts well to it because, I don't know, I just find it generally something I don't prefer. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Now, I'm not gonna really vote or score anything because this one I don't think you can find anymore. This is in batch 4 right now, so this is batch 1. I don't think you can find this as well, but I'm gonna go ahead and recommend 3 Glencairns on any Benromach you find. The 10, 15, 12, the organics, the Caragold, where's that? I had a, oh yeah, this one, this is really nice. You can find their contrast selection because they have the peat smoke where the peat is much more increased, and they have different barleys. This is the Caragold. I'll review it in the future, and this is 46% ABV, 12 years. So you know, Benromach, their general lineup is 43% ABV, but they're really good drinkers. I highly recommend you go ahead and try a Benromach if you haven't, and if you like Campbelltown whiskies but you can't afford or you can't find any, go ahead to Speyside. Benromach is your boy. They'll help you out. Guys, I hope you like this one, this old versus new. I'm gonna do a few more, hopefully about this one, not this one, but more old versus new ones. So if you did, please hit that like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and let me know, have you did this, you know, head to head, or did you try either of this, both of them? Which one do you prefer? Old one, new one? Again, I want to hear about your label choices, but also now I want to hear about your taste choices. Like I said, without water, with water. It's a combination. I'm just lucky to be able to try both of them at the same time. I'm absolutely loving this. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers, everyone.